Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Curry, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. Today we're going to be tackling a post that I saw today, and it was a blog post. And it was an interesting article, interesting in the sense that it was rubbish. I was trying to master as much sarcasm as I could, but just come out and say it. It was ridiculous. So generally, when I look for information, and really, I generally don't look for information regarding sexless relationship stuff, because this is now probably maybe 6 years that I've been within this space. And I remember first time I started looking for information like this, there was nobody writing about it. In fact, there was information about it, and I tried to act on that information, and it was absolute rubbish. It was, you need to sit down and talk to her. You need to tell her how you feel about the situation. Like, she's unaware of the situation. She's perfectly aware of the situation that sex is an issue. You guys both sort of tiptoe around it. And sometimes we weaponize feminism. Sometimes we weaponize women empowerment. Sometimes you weaponize the Me Too movement. She's got so many things to back herself up. So, we don't talk about sex, and sometimes it will make you seem like this perverted human being who is ridiculous for asking sex in a relationship. It's even worse in a marriage. So, and I'm not saying she needs to be obligated to, because that's ridiculous as well. I mean, like, if you talk to her and then all of a sudden, because you've talked to her, she says, yeah, okay, I get your point, let's go and jump into bed. It becomes a little bit ridiculous, because it's not the same. You want her to want you. And so there is a lot of nuance. There's a lot of rubbish that has been written out there. And what makes it even more rubbish is it dawned on me when somebody said to me today, you kind of like a Yoda. And I thought, I'm not different to any human being that's out there. The only difference I have is that I've just had ridiculous amount of interactions with people who I was actually trying to have sex with. So when I say ridiculous amount, I mean I had thousands of interactions. And this is ranging from just having a short conversation. This is even some rejections, and also the ones that were successful. And if you think of it, thousands, it doesn't mean that I've slept with thousands, but I mean the number is the number that I don't share. So if you think of it from that perspective, when I'm coaching, I'm like a football coach that has played football before. I've not learned what I'll be teaching you guys from a book. I haven't gone to university and somebody has told me stuff off of a book, and then I'm just giving you information based off of what the book said. So, because the difference between a guy who's read books and then writing, say, an article on sexlessness, they write based off of information that they heard might be the way of fixing it. And then the difference between that and what we teach is that we teach you the fundamentals of seduction, the fundamentals of being a powerful man, and also the ability to call audibles when you see the situation as it's happening. Because this is one of the craziest part about getting information online, because sometimes it's meant for the masses. And when I was reading this article, it was clearly a white knight. We call them white knights. These are guys who say things to appeal to women, to seem like they're these amazing men. So I don't know if you've ever been on TikTok. I don't use TikTok as much as my kids do, but the few times I've been on TikTok, you see these guys who say these real compelling things with this background music about how women should be treated like princesses, and how, some weird thing. And then you got comments where you got hundreds and thousands of these women saying, yes, I would like a guy like this. And really clearly they are just not, that's not how you treat women, and that's not what they respond to. Anyways, this article, I've already gone 4 minutes. So the article basically was talking about how you need to make your woman safe in order for her to feel sexy, or at least be open to having sex with you, because they said when they feel safe, the woman becomes vulnerable, and a woman needs to be vulnerable in order to have sex. Wow, that was so ridiculous. When I read that, I was like, oh my God, what planet is this dude on? Um, there is some truth to it in terms of the vulnerability side of things. When you talk about vulnerability, it's the ability to um, be your true self to a certain extent, but it's being a true self with something that you are ashamed of. So, the only time you introduce shame to seduction, that's a passion killer. So it kind of lost me when he said that, and the whole article then was built upon this. She needs to be vulnerable to have sex, so she's in fear. So she's got some sort of fears that are surrounding her day to day. So therefore, you need to be respectful for all of these fears, because if you're not respectful, then she withdraws into herself. And really, by the time I finished, I was thinking to myself, are we back in the 40s or 20s where women couldn't vote or something? Because this sounds so ridiculous. Like, these women are so feeble and so powerless that they need. Oh my God! When I listen to myself talk about it now, I now actually see how extremely ridiculous this article was, because at least 90% of you guys know that your women are actually opinionated, especially if they're from America or the UK. They feel they've had many years of feminism to give them a voice, to be able to speak up for themselves. They've got Me Too movement that has helped them to be able to say no to sex. So they've got no issue with saying no and feeling vulnerable, or at least speaking their mind on when it comes to sex or seduction. Um, there are exceptions where women weaponize sex within a relationship and use it against you, but in this case, the way he was talking about it was that these women are fragile, and because of their fragility, they pushed sex to the side. Some truth to it, so it's not completely ridiculous, but a lot of it has to do with your way of being a leader within that relationship. So your ability to lead, if you don't have the leadership skills within that your relationship, she can be fearful of the way you're leading. So it's kind of like you might be a very good guy, but if you're driving a car towards a tree at 100 miles an hour, it doesn't matter that you're a good guy. You're just a shitty driver. And this is what creates the anxiety around her. So you might have to build up upon your leadership skills so she can trust your leadership, and which is what we teach. Which is different and which is more empowering within to the relationship, rather than you in reaction to she in fear. So that before, because I think the advice he said, oh, you need to ask her how her day was. Like, I'm thinking, who in their right mind who's married, whether they're having sex or not, will not ask their wife with how the day was? I know some of you guys are butthurt about being rejected, so you are spiteful enough to continue the sexless relationship by not even asking your partner how a day was. So take it however you may, but any human being will sort of have that. You will have that conversation, and I pretend to listen. Now, I'll admit, I sometimes pretend to listen to what she's saying. So, like, oh, how was that? And then she'll tell me, oh, this happened. I kind of switch off mid conversation and then sort of listen to the last little bit. She says, like, oh, that was really cool. And I gave her the opportunity to speak and vent. Sometimes I'll really pay attention and really show genuine interest. But there isn't a lot of. It doesn't really matter. I think sometimes it's just the fact it's therapeutic for that person to be able to speak about that day and just get it over, and And what I'm trying to say here is that there was some truth to what you're saying, but the fact that she needs to feel safe and vulnerable in order to have sex with you. That is a passion killer within any seduction. You don't. When it comes to seduction, we talked about desire and interest and how you move into those how to move your partner into interest and then desire. None of that has got you disarming her like some sort of fear bomb or some bomb that is going to go off if you do something wrong. And that's how he was phrasing it. And again, this is sort of talk that empowers women to keep you guys into a sexless relationship. So this is why some of us exist, because we're coaches that have played the game before, And again, I used this example earlier today. I said the difference between us and the marriage counselors and the other sex therapists and so on is the fact that we've been in the field. Like, if you are going to war, which general would you rather have? The guy who's gone to university and learned about war and strategy and they've read books about it, or you want a battle-hardened warrior who's been there, who's been through the battles before, and they know what they're talking about. And like I said, it might come across as arrogance, but believe me, I'm saying this with as much humility as I can muster right now, that the fact that we've had, when I say we, I'm talking about the crew that I was in, the fact that we had those many thousands and thousands of interactions, had the ability to have almost a sixth sense. I can literally be speaking to somebody for as little as 4 or 5 minutes and be able to really pick up a lot of vibes from them, just their energy, how they're shifting their body weight, reading their body language, their voice tone. I can almost tell what's going on and half tell where this conversation is going to go or where I can take this conversation. And this is something that we can be taught. So we're going to be having a masterclass where we're going to be showing you these things that we've learned. So we've done all these other things where we've spoken to thousands and thousands of people. You don't have to, because these are things that we can actually teach. We taught this to many students when I was teaching single guys. And now we've also taught this to guys that are married who are in a sexless relationship. We've been empowered to be able to live their life by design. So this is what we're going to be teaching you guys. We'll be workshopping. It's going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to be doing this on Thursday next week. So I want you to come to our Instagram and then type in masterclass. And when you type in masterclass, you get to join the masterclass next week, Thursday. So we'll just give you the details on what you need to do in order for that to happen. Really excited about it. And again, for some of you guys, it's not for everyone. I think I've come to that conclusion that I don't want everyone to come. There's a lot of people that I've spoken to lately, and I've realized that I don't want everyone to come into our program. There's a specific type of person that I want to come into our program. I'm talking about you, the guy that is willing to work, willing to change their life, and really not a worry about what people are going to say that you're doing this classes. You're going to do these classes, do the work. And when your life starts changing, when you start getting respect from you, people around you, your wife, your children, and you start getting money coming through in terms of your promotions, that's because you're now acting differently. You're acting more like a leader. Those are the people that I want. People that want to create something that's amazing. Because some of you guys are just happy to listen to this podcast, and I'm happy for you guys. But there's some of you guys that are just action takers. And those are the guys that are really going to transform the relationship. Because you know that you need to do something to get things to change, but you just don't really know what. So we're going to give you the what in order for that to happen for you. So those are the guys that I want to get in touch with us. So if you feel like you're a wishy-washy guy and this is not for you, thank you very much for listening. Hope you continue listening. And the only problem is that you might not be able to change your relationship. So we're going to give you an opportunity to come to this masterclass. It's free. You don't have to pay, because we're recording for this masterclass is going to be videos we're going to be using for our premium program. So we will be using that information. That's what we're going to be using to teach. We're going to record it, save it, edit it, and then put it into our premium program. So the only way you'll be able to access it in the future is through a payment system. So thank you very much. I'm going to knock it on the head here. It's already 15 minutes. I'll be speaking to you soon. Take care.